So I get to try one, right?
Yes, we're ready to go. I will too. Okay.
I always like to break them in half. Look at the
So
inside.
they're a little bit chewy.
They look really nice.
And just like crispness on the outside. Nice.
Hey guys, this is Heather from HealthyEatingStartsHere.com, and I am here with Ricki Heller.
Hi everybody. Hi Heather.
Hey.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, it's fun to be here. Okay, so Ricki has just put out a brand new cookbook that's called Naturally Sweet and Gluten-Free. Because that's what she does. She makes desserts that are naturally sweet and gluten-free.
And vegan.
And vegan and allergy-friendly, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything in this book, there's no soy or corn, and there are some nuts, but you can also substitute with seeds in most cases.
Okay, cool. And there are gorgeous photos in here and lots of really delicious looking recipes. We're going to make one of the recipes from this book today, and what's it called?
These are called Chocolate-Flecked pumpkin seed cookies.
Yeah. I was really excited about them because they're based with pumpkin seed butter, which is really high in zinc, and it's great for helping boost your immune system. So you can think of them as like immunity cookies.
Indeed, and also good for the prostate gland.
Ooh.
For the guys out there.
Excellent.
Eat your cookies. Okay, so we have preheated our oven to 350, and we've got this whole array of ingredients. And I thought it would be fun if you mix it up so you can show everybody how easy it is to make these cookies. And they actually have very little flour, so that's one of the good features. It's mostly the pumpkin seed butter. So in a small bowl, the first thing you're going to do is whisk together your coconut sugar.
And coconut sugar is a special kind of sugar that you like because...
Well, coconut sugar is really low glycemic. It's only 35 on the glycemic index, which is considered pretty low. So this sugar is even good for people who have type 2 diabetes. And for me, because I'm on an anti-candida diet, at this point on an anti-candida lifestyle, it's lower glycemic, so it's a sugar that I can even eat in my desserts now, thankfully. And it has a beautiful taste. It's sort of caramely, butterscotchy. It's just really, really nice sugar.
Okay, and the other sweetener we're using is stevia.
Stevia. So let's just make sure that, so we're going to combine that with the stevia. And this one says 20 to 30 drops because it depends on the brand of stevia. It depends on your particular taste buds. So 20 drops is about a quarter of a teaspoon if you don't want to count them out, but I won't interrupt you. I'll let you count. And you're using my favorite brand of stevia, which is New Naturals, because I find that New Naturals, some people complain about a slight bitter undertaste or aftertaste with stevia, but New Naturals, in my opinion, doesn't have any of that. So when I eat something sweetened with New Naturals, it isn't bitter. And the other thing that I can say about using stevia just in general, I always say less is more, so you want to be sure that you use the minimum required to get the sweetness that you like, and nothing above that, because that's when you start to get into that bitterness territory.
Okay, that's good to know. So I put in 25 drops. I thought I'd go in the middle of the range.
We can sample it, make sure before. And then a quarter of a cup water, so you want to just pour to the quarter cup mark.
Okay.
And I normally with glass measures, when you're using liquid, exactly, it's supposed to be eye level, but if it's fudged a wee bit, if there's a little bit more, we can put it into one of these measuring cups instead. Wow, you're very talented. I don't think I could get back in there. That's great.
One of my lesser known talents.
You're going to add that to the coconut sugar. So I always add my liquids to my coconut sugar because it is so granular and it doesn't always dissolve the way regular sugar does. So this will start it off dissolving, which is just a little helpful tip there.
And you said adding vanilla as well?
And then, I usually put all the liquid ingredients in together, so a teaspoon of vanilla. And, like I said, it might not dissolve totally, but you want to get it started at least. And as you keep mixing, it will dissolve more and more. So this is pumpkin seed butter I made myself. And in my book...
awesome.
Yeah, it's really easy. I mean, in my book, I have all kinds of guidelines for every type of nut or seed butter that you want to make and how much you need to yield a certain amount. And so what I find, if you just lightly toast them first and then let them cool and put them in the food processor, usually if you just keep running it long enough and scraping down the sides, then you're going to end up with either nut or seed butter. And once in a while, like certain ones like cashews are a little bit drier, so they take a bit longer. So I might add a little bit of organic coconut oil to help it along. And then it's just beautiful. It's like a beautiful texture, you can see. And this is just the food processor.
Yeah, it's so smooth. It's great.
Yeah, and it's so yummy too. So that's looking very good.
Yeah, it's all getting smooth now. So next we're adding flax.
Yep. So that's a quarter of a cup of pre-ground flax.
Ground flax.
Yep.
Cool.
And then we want a half a cup of brown rice flour. And you know, if it's rice flour tends to be really not very clumpy. So you know, if you want to, you can sift it, but you actually with rice flour you don't have to sift it. And we're gonna just put in everything else. There's a pinch of salt. It's an eighth of a teaspoon, which is really a big pinch.
Okay,
and then once that's stirred in, we'll stir in the carrot chips.
Okay.
So it should come together pretty quickly, and because the flax seeds are going to start absorbing some of that liquid, it should thicken up a little bit too. Okay, so that looks really good.
Perfect.
So now you just want to stir in the chips, and these are actually unsweetened carob chips because that's what I can eat, but obviously you can use chocolate chips or chopped chocolate. In fact, we were supposed to coarsely chop in a coffee grinder. So these are going to be more
that's an optional. I thought we were taking the option to do them
we're
all.
taking the option to make them look like chocolate chip cookies. I actually like them ground up because then you get little bits, and that's the picture in the book where I'll see if I can find it. What I like about that is then you get bits in every single bite. It's not like a huge chunk. So it will depend on your preference, but you can do that with chocolate chips, you can do that with the carob chips, either way.
Okay, so we've got a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper, which is excellent for non-sticking, and then you have an ice cream scoop.
Yeah, now you don't have to use an ice cream scoop. I just use one because I have it from my old baking days, but so you want to really pack it in there, right full. I like them to be substantial.
Like so?
Yep, and then just turn it over and flip it out. And so what you can do at this point, and they will stick, so sometimes you have to help them along.
Nice.
You can do two things. I always flatten them a little bit.
Okay.
So if your hands are clean, you can use your hands, or you can use your silicone spatula, which usually works that way. So as I said, they're going to be a little sticky.
Nice.
I like the silicone spatula because
those look great.
Yeah, because it's very flat. And if you really want to get fancy, what I'll sometimes do, if I know I'm going to be serving them to guests or something, I'll make sure that I put a couple of chocolate chips on the bottom of the scoop first, so that when it flips over, they show on the top. Of course, you can always just, you might have to help that along. You can always just take an extra one and stick it in before you bake it, so it looks nice.
Perfect.
So then, we'll just do these, and we'll end up with about a dozen cookies, depending on how big. If you don't have a mini ice cream scoop like this, just a rounded tablespoon works perfectly. And the dough is actually firm enough that with a tablespoon you can roll it into a ball in your hand and then flatten the ball afterwards.
Okay, so you're a batter taster? I'm a batter taster. I like to make sure that things are that things taste good before I put them in the oven.
And the thing about vegan baking, of course, you can, right?
Yeah, no rides.
Well, we could just eat them like that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
You could make these into energy balls if you wanted to. But
they are really good.
Good.
I like the sweetness level too. You were saying maybe a couple more drops of stevia? Well,
for my taste, because the other thing to keep in mind is that stevia, when you bake it, it loses a little bit of its sweetness. So these will be ever so slightly less sweet even when we bake them. Okay. Well, you can see if you think so, but...
Well, it's perfect sweetness level for me now.
Okay, great.
And you were saying also that it's hard to mix in stevia after?
Depending. I mean, if you wait too long with this cookie, it starts to firm up. So what you want to do is taste it before you add the flour and see if it's sweet enough. If it's not, then add your extra, like 5 drops of stevia or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we have our cookies ready to go into the oven, and they're not going to spread too much, right?
Right.
So we actually wound up with 13 cookies, lucky 13. Yes. And we're going to put them in the oven for how long?
10 to 12.
Perfect.
So you just want them to start getting a little bit golden around the edges.
All right.
And you'll see how different they look when they come out.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Cookies.
Okay, we've got the cookies out of the oven. Look how phenomenal they look. I'm excited to taste one. I'm really surprised by the texture.
Are you?
It's really, really nice. The outside is a little bit crispy, and the inside is nice and dense and chewy.
Like a cookie.
Yeah, they are quite similar texture to a peanut butter cookie.
Yeah, actually, that's a good comparison. That's a really good comparison. And with the chips, it's a nice little contrast to the dough. So these are very simple cookie for people who maybe haven't baked a lot, and they make a nice impression too.
All right, so you can find this recipe in Ricki's new book, Naturally Sweet and Gluten-Free. And again, where can they find it?
They can get it at bookstores everywhere, online at Amazon.com, and chaptersindigo.com, and barnesandnoble.com.
Perfect. Okay, I'm excited to try more of these recipes from the book, because these were so delicious.
Enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers.